Hello and welcome back to the Autograph app. I'm senior editor of Wildcat Authority, Jason Scheer. Arizona faces Colorado in a nice Saturday afternoon game, and there's a lot of storylines. You have the circus with Theon surrounding that, the national tension, Arizona trying to get back into the win column. A lot going on. Homecoming sold out. Arizona will have 350 alum back. It is the um, most Ring of Honor inductees that'll be on campus at once for a game ever, I believe. There's going to be over 100 unofficial, official visitors for football. It is a very big weekend for the Wildcats. Now, when you look at this game, again, there's a lot of storylines. Arizona's injured. Gunnar Maldonado, Traydon Stukes are definitely out. Tacario Davis is probable, but there's still, a game time decision. Marquise Groves Killebrew, game time decision. So there's still a lot of storylines out there. But, when you look at this game, if it could be kind of narrowed down to one thing, I actually look at the defensive side of the ball, which may surprise some people because the offensive side of the ball for Arizona has not been good. But Colorado's offense is very good. And when it gets going with what I believe is arguably the deepest wide receiver room in the nation. May not be the best in the first two. I think top two, you're probably going with Ohio State. But in terms of pure depth and the numbers there, Colorado may have the deepest wide receiver rotation in the entire country. So, how does Arizona stop that, especially with the injuries? We got to take a look at the numbers, and they tell you what should probably be common sense. But as good as Shedeur Sanders is, when you give him time, he's pretty much the best quarterback in the nation. When he has a clean pocket and is kept clean, he has an 80% completion percentage for 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His PFF grade is a 93, which is about as good as it gets. Now, when you take a look at his numbers similar when he's not blitzed, when the opposition does not blitz him, 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions with a 72% completion rate and pretty much the same rating. What's interesting is when you take a look at the numbers that he's been blitzed or not blitzed, he's been not blitzed 194 times. He's been kept clean 179 times. He's only faced 86 blitzes so far this season. So it'll be really interesting to see how Arizona attacks it. And the reason is if you blitz and you don't get to him, you're pretty much screwed. Now, the interesting aspect of all that is like most quarterbacks, Shedeur under pressure, his numbers drop considerably, but he's still really, really good. Under pressure, he has a completion percentage of 53%. He still has a good rating. He still has 4 touchdowns to 1 pick. When blitzed, he has a completion percentage of 72% with 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. In other words, he's still a really good quarterback, but you have to get to him. And the reason you have to get to him is because his passing depth, his ability to throw deep accurately is about as good as it gets. When you take a look at his deep ball, he's thrown 37 passes over 20 yards, completed 18 of them for 7 touchdowns and no picks. Again, that's his PFF rating on that is a 96, which is about as high as you can get. Medium, it doesn't really change. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which isn't great, but he's still completing 68% of his passes. It's when you force him to go short that he's actually not all that great. You want to keep Shedeur Sanders in between that 0 and 9 mark, right? Even though his completion percentage is high at 87%, that's not really where he necessarily wants to go. His rating does drop. So really, when you take a look at the whole situation with Shedeur, defensively, yes, there's more to it than that. There's a lot of good receivers. Colorado's probably going to try to get their run game going a little bit this weekend for a few different reasons. But it comes down to hitting Shedeur Sanders and making him uncomfortable. If he sits in a clean pocket, Arizona's chances of winning decrease dramatically. And it's look, you got to get him down and sack him. Baylor sacked him 8 times. I believe Kansas State sacked him 6 times. So it's not just hitting him or making him uncomfortable because he's good on the run. It's getting him down on the ground. If you can get him down on the ground and actually sack him or make him throw it away, you have succeeded a ton. It's going to be very interesting to see how Dwayne Akina attacks this defense. Because again, you would think that the blitz numbers would be higher, when Colorado's other games, but they're not because Shador's good under pressure, and if you don't get home, you're in deep trouble. I tried to get that out of Dwayne Aquino. Look, when you're outmanned a little bit because of the injuries, are you anxious to blitz more? And he said, offense, there's bells and whistles sometimes when you're outmanned, but he really didn't give it away on defense. So I'm very, very curious to see how Shador handles Arizona's defense and how Arizona attacks it. Arizona is one of the teams in the country that plays the most single high post safety, right? They play a single high safety. Shador's passing rating against single high safety is sixth in the nation. So does Arizona change it? Do they go with it? There's a lot of strategy that's going on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that really, although Arizona's offense has struggled, I think really when it comes down to it, you're looking at the defensive side of the ball and strategy. I'm very, very curious to see what happens and how Dwayne Aquina handles Shador Sanders in this explosive Colorado offense.